Hello, I'm Margaret Seconded, and welcome to my short presentation on bed placement. I know a lot of you have actually been wondering and confused, and I've got questions from some of you about how to put your bed or position your bed in a room, especially when applying the East and West group theory or the 8-house mansions theory. Now, I had said earlier that in this kind of cases, the form trumps the formula, which means that when you're looking at the layout, the room layout actually takes precedence. Let me show you in one or two illustrations here. Okay, so let's say you have a room. And let's say the door is here. Hopefully you can see very well. So this is the door. And let's say you have a window right here. So let's say this is the south. Okay, this is the north. This is the west. And this is the east. Okay, based on the East and West House theory, I mentioned that in my book, A Homeowner's Guide to Feng Shui. The East and West group theory, you have a specific formula or calculation wherein you determine if you belong to the East group person, or if you are belonging to West group person. Anyway, based on our calculation, let's say if you are an East person, so you actually be looking at the East, South, Northwest position as your direction, as your favorable direction. So let's say you are arranging or positioning your bed in this room here, with this kind of layout. So if you're an East person, you might want to, okay, South is one of your good directions. So you might want to put your bed here. Okay, this is not to scale, but I hope you get the general idea here. So let's say this is the south, and this is one of your best direction. So you might want to say, okay, I would like to put my bed in this position. Now, the only downside is there are some rules, there are some Feng Shui rules in terms of putting your bed in the room. First of all, as you look at this layout here, what you see here is that your bed is directly under a window. Okay, so in Feng Shui, having your bed positioned in this manner, in this position, is not ideal. Okay, so you would not like to have your bed under a window. So what is the next best position for a person, an East person, in this layout here, in this room layout? So looking at this layout, you might want to rearrange that bed of yours, and probably instead of having it there, you might want to have your bed positioned here. Okay, so in this way, fortunately, when you do it this way, you are facing one of your best direction, which is east. Granted, you are an East person, so this is one of your best direction. So when we're also talking about direction when it comes to bed positioning, it's not the position or where you're facing when you're sitting up on the bed. It's not when you sit up and you're facing here. No. So what we mean by facing direction is where your head is pointing, where your head is facing. So this would actually be the facing direction of your bed. which is at this in this layout, in this position, is facing east, which is one of your best direction, favorable direction. Now, this layout, this position of the bed is also ideal because you have the view of a door, of the door. You have a good view of the door. You have a good view of who's coming in and out of the room. So that's ideal. You also have, secondly, you also have the support of a solid wall, which is like in the form method of Feng Shui, you have the support of the turtle at the back of you. So this is a solid wall. Okay? So in terms of having a good night's sleep, you probably have a better night's sleep with a solid wall behind you and protecting you. Okay? Now, let's say you are a west person, and you also have this layout, room layout. So, which would be the best position for you to place your bed? Okay, so if this was the case, you might say, I want to put my bed in one of my best direction, which is the west. Okay, the west direction. But looking at this layout, what you see here is the fact that your bed is in line, in direct line with the door here. So the energy of the door is coming straight at you. So this is also one of Feng Shui that is not ideal. You do not want to put your bed in kind of in the direct line of sight of the energy that's coming straight from the door. So this is not an ideal position for your bed, irregardless of the fact that you're actually facing west, one of your best directions. The form of the room takes precedence, okay? It kind of trumps the formula of the East and West group theory. So in this situation, you would not want to put your bed in that position, okay? So what would actually be the best alternative? Granted, you have this room to work with only, okay? So what happens here is the only other position that you might also think about might be, again, this position. So with the distance from the window and with the view of the door, the position of this bed is ideal. It's more ideal as opposed to the one that we had done earlier. So this is when this is exactly the example when form takes precedence over formula. Doesn't make any difference anymore if you're an East or West person. What actually is more important is how you're going to position your bed in this layout, okay? So in this situation, you will actually be having the support of the solid wall behind you. You will also have a good view of the door, which is also important. And you might want to consider not positioning your bed so close to the window so that there's a bit of a distance from the window itself. Now, you might be saying that maybe I can position my bed in another position. Let's say, let's go to another position of the bed that you might want to consider. Let's say you want to put your bed along this side. Now, is that ideal? Well, in terms of Feng Shui rules, it's not. It's not as ideal. When in terms of the form, it's also not ideal. You have to consider, first of all, the energy that's coming from this door. You have the door, the wall here, but it's not a solid wall. It's also, you're sharing this wall with the door. So the ingress and the outgress, like the person entering and opening, or the opening and shutting of the door actually will disturb your sleep here. So you do not have a solid wall to support you, not like this solid wall over here. Another thing you might also notice with this layout is that you are actually facing the window. I mean, the bed is in line with the window. So the energy from the window is actually coming straight at you. So this is also not ideal. So these are some of the rules of bed positioning when you're considering arranging your bed in the master bedroom or bedroom. So this would also not be ideal because the window is there and the energy from the window is directly coming at you. It's similar to having your bed underneath the window, wherein the energy of the window will also affect your quality of sleep. Okay, so let's try another one. So we should this way we can cover all the bases. Let's say you're gonna be asking me, how about this other layout here? So let's say I'm an east person. South is also one of my good direction. Can I put my bed on that direction? And I would say to you, no, it's not ideal. Again, because of the energy that's coming from the door. You do not also have a solid wall behind you, so you do not have the solid turtle protection behind you as well. And sometimes this can be referred to as a coffin direction. Anyway, so again, this is not ideal. So for this room, if we have to conclude, and if I have to repeat it again, in such a situation, the form of the method, Feng Shui method, will take precedence over formula. So, looking at this room, the best position for your bed would actually be this position. So, irregardless of the fact, if you have your calculation and you are an east person or a west person, this would be the best ideal position for your bed. Let's say looking at this room layout as such. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to learn something from this presentation, this short presentation, and join me again on my other short videos, and hopefully you have learned something here. And as much as possible, I will try to share with you some of my other Feng Shui tips that I think a lot of you might find confusing and would like to have some clarification on. So again, this is Margaret, and thank you all, and have a good day. Cheers. Talk to you later. Bye.